me with some of the decisions I make, and vice versa with the management and their members not happy with some of their decisions, but we are able to weigh all the facts of the situation and come out with a mutually beneficial decision.
So you don't have an issue perhaps making an unpopular decision if you feel it's the right one?
No, not at all.
So can you talk a little bit more about maybe your life experiences and what has committed you to public school in the way that you are?
As far as committed to public school.
Or in what ways you have been committed to public school, so how your relationship with public schools and how you've interacted with them?
Unfortunately, when my children were in there, I was in my trade as an electrician. I was on the road a lot, so I didn't interact a lot when they were in school. But having been the president of the Building Trades Council since 2002, we've been working with the school system trying to get them to strengthen the VOTEC programs, which goes along with our trades. And we're currently working with them with a program to pre-qualify at-risk students for our apprenticeship programs. It's we're working with the group in public school, Grassy, Anthony Hicks, and I think last week he and I spoke, and it looks like they've got the funding in place for this program, and it's a national program. The National Building Trades has developed a core curriculum that prepares students for any and all of the different building trades. We've been working on that for probably close to 2 years, trying to get it through the system, and it looks like it's finally getting there.
A complaint that we have heard is that the kids, when they go through VOTEC through the school system, are actually trained with outdated things, and so by the time they get out, they're not capable of going into the workforce as it is.
Right.
And so is this something that kind of addresses that?
To a degree, and part of the program about them not being prepared is some of the VOTEC programs, like you say, are outdated, and they teach them basics about the different trades, but not enough of the hands-on. And a lot of times they're led to believe that they'll be able to go straight from high school into a trade without some sort of transition. And been my experience that's not possible. You know, you have to move into an apprenticeship program after the trade school, the VOTEC school.
And so would you all offer that type of apprentice program?
Yes.
Okay.
All the different trades that are affiliated with the Building Trades Councils have apprenticeship programs here locally, and they're employer-funded training, and the students in the programs don't have to pay any tuition. They obviously have to pay for some supplies and books, but it's a free education where they work 40 hours a week on the job and then go to school typically 2 or 3 nights a week for 4 to 5 years, depending on the craft.
And so why are you all as an organization okay with working with at-risk kids that other people might avoid? Because
they're an important part of our society, and if they're just left out there to stay at risk, they're not going to be productive. They're going to continue to be a drain on the society.
So can you talk a little bit about the main educational concerns in your district that you'll be in the super districts that you'll be representing, and then your role as a city councilman in addressing those collaboratively with different bodies, and how would you kind of strategically, through various programs, look at addressing those main concerns in your districts? Maybe you can speak to those a little bit.
Being half the city, it covers
right.
A lot of the different districts, and we'd have to obviously work with the other council people, but also work with the school board members, whatever the makeup of that's going to be. What was the first part of the question?
What do you see as kind of the main issues in terms of education in your half of the city?
Yeah. Well, going back to the main one, it is the funding, and ensuring that the children in whatever schools they're in have equal access to the quality programs that right now may be concentrated more in one school than the other. Having sent our children to White Station High School in the optional program, we benefited from that. But those type of programs ought to be in all the schools.
And do you see a role of city council and ensuring that happens in the new consolidated district, or what kind of role do you see?
I really don't see, the city council does have to work, needs to work with the school board, but I don't really see any major changes in the school, the council being able to mandate to the school board what they do. You just have to work in partnership with them, unless legislation has changed or something. Your council largely approves the budget and then tries to work with the school board in improving programs.
What made you run for the at-large position instead of a district level position?
Well, of course, last time around it was an open seat, and we had 2 years prior to that we lived in Whitehaven and moved to Midtown to take care of my mother-in-law. She's not in real bad shape, but she can't live alone. So my wife and I moved in with her to help take care of her. And like I say, I had been looking at one of the at-large seats in Super District 8 actually prior to that, and the opportunity just came about that there was an open seat on there, and Jim Strickland is my council person, and Jim and I get along fairly well, and I really didn't want to run against Jim in this election, so I chose to run against Conrad in the Super District election again.
Okay.
And even though Jim and I have our differences, I think he's doing a fairly good job.
And what I know in your questionnaire you spoke to having town hall meetings and things. Can you speak a little more to how you'll integrate kind of the voice of your constituency as we're a membership organization as well? We listen to multiple sources and people with different interests, and of course representing a large piece of the city.
Yeah.
How will you kind of integrate those various voices into your decision making?
Well, like I say, it's being a larger than just a single district is a little more difficult, but partnering with the council members that are in the single districts to be able to get to the people to get their opinion on it. And having been a labor leader for the past 25, 30 years, I've had to face a lot of decisions based on what our different groups in the union's opinions are, so you just have to make yourself available to all of the people, weigh all the data from the different groups and come up with the solution that's best for everybody.
Sorry, they're constructing.
Oh, that's all right.
As we see, we're trying to keep electrical and construction people at business.
Yeah, good.
So is education a priority in your campaign?
Yes.
What are other priorities that you see?
Economic development and attracting new industry to the city is a big part of mine. I ran on that, largely on that platform last time, and obviously being in the business I'm in, I know the need for quality jobs in our city, and that's a big part of what I want to see is economic development, responsible economic development. Oftentimes we attract somebody that is just here to make a profit off us and go about their business, and want to make sure that we're attracting responsible industry to our city.
If we were going to bring a new company into Memphis, and that company was going to bring, let's say, $500 million to the city, but we knew that the place that we were going to put the business was going to affect 1,000 students, how would you go about seeing to it that you, one, heard the constituency of what needed to happen, and how would you vote with knowing that constituency on the effects of the business versus the children that would be affected by the business coming in?
I take it you mean negatively affected by it. We have an overabundance of locations in our metropolitan area, Memphis and Shelby County, that businesses can locate in. if it's gonna have a truly proven negative effect on, you say 1,000